Chief, tell me what emotions you're feeling today now that you're officially sheriff-elect.
So today I think I've ran the whole gamut of emotions that there is to run. But on a more serious side, the impact of the sheriff's office and ultimately the impact of the community is what I have been the most elated about. I've been through these contentious sheriff's races. They can be extremely distracting to the organization, and then it really does impact operational efficiencies and our service to our community. So I'm ecstatic that our agency does not have to go through a bloodbath campaign. And then moving past that, I'm starting to feel, and I have been a little bit since I started running for sheriff, I'm starting to feel the weight of the responsibility settling on me. It's a huge task to keep 160, 170,000 citizens safe. And I'm starting to feel this as my sole responsibility. I've always had the cover of being under the sheriff, but never the sheriff. So I'm starting to feel that. Overall, it's been a great day. I feel like I grew up at the Martin County Sheriff's Office. I started as young as you could start. I was the youngest employee at the Martin County Sheriff's Office, starting at 19 years old. A child driving a patrol car, trying to mitigate grown individuals' disputes and issues.
Tell the community about your background in law enforcement.
I did a few years on the road patrol, and then I spent the lion's share of the first part of my career working a combination of narcotics and SWAT, because the two went hand in hand tactically, and loved every minute of it. One of my favorite jobs was to be the sergeant of the narcotics unit, and we just, back in the day here, it was busy. There was a lot of calls for service. We were making a lot of arrests. I think our unit pulled in 1,100 arrests one year, extremely busy. And then when the sheriff came back as a sheriff, Sheriff Snyder, I started taking on more command level positions. I started as a lieutenant, running Marine, Canine, and Aviation, SWAT. And then I moved over to one of the most challenging jobs I've ever had, and that was the captain of the road patrol division, where you're supervising all the calls for service as they come in. And then a few other captain's positions I moved around to, became the major of law enforcement, which is over all the divisions within law enforcement, criminal investigations, community operations, special investigations, and road patrol. When the current undersheriff at that time stepped away, the sheriff allowed me to be his undersheriff, chief deputy, which is where I've been for the last 2.5 years.
Chief, why do you want this job, and why do you think nobody ran against you?
I went from just wanting to go slam bad guys to actually feeling the responsibility of keeping this community safe. I follow national issues, I follow local issues, and I see if we don't have good law enforcement, the fabric of society will continue to break down. And it's important to me, not just for my own sake, for my family for sure, but for the other families in our community, to keep this county intact, whole, with that strong law enforcement presence where we push back on people who want to interrupt our way of life. Others that might have been considering running for sheriff realize that the sheriff's office as a whole is on a strong footing right now. We're happy with the job that Sheriff Snyder is doing, and if Sheriff Budensiek is going to be like Sheriff Snyder, then yes, we're going to vote for him, and it would be foolish for someone to run against it.
Martin County is growing fast. Now, how are you guys preparing to meet that challenge and keep up with that growth?
As these permits come to fruition and they build houses, we are asking for money for deputies. Now, that's not raising taxes. That's taxes that are already coming in because these houses are being built. So we're going to grow proportionally with the county so we can keep the county safe.
Another huge issue that's plaguing this community is fentanyl. How do you plan to address that?
We have allocated a lot of our resources to fighting this scourge. So that goes from education, from the educational side and getting people the rehabilitation that they need, to going after these fentanyl traffickers. This past year we've set a couple records. It's not a happy thing, but we made some of the largest fentanyl arrests that's been made ever in Martin County. And that's a part of our effort to continue to push back on these drug traffickers.
Is there anything you plan to address or do differently than your predecessor?
The short answer is no. In order to keep the Martin County Sheriff's Office running smoothly and provide the best service we can to this county, it's my goal that day one, for me being the sheriff, is that you don't see a difference. Yes, we're going to look into the future and address what's coming our way, but day one is going to look very similar to what you've seen under Sheriff Snyder's leadership.
Sheriff, why do you feel like now is the right time to move on to the next chapter?
Well, very simply, do the math. I've been doing public safety and public service for 52 years, and everything has a shelf life. And this was just the right time. I wanted to leave when it was the right time, and I feel like now is the right time.
Do you feel like you have any unfinished business as you prepare to leave office?
I think if there's one thing that I wish I could have gotten done, I would like to have seen the mental health facility here at the Martin County Jail finished. We have seriously mentally ill people in our community that run afoul of the law and do get arrested. I want them to have their own place. I want them to be in a secure facility because they've been arrested, but I want them to be somewhere where they begin to get treatment and begin to be able to be reacclimated into society. I think it's a human rights issue. They should not be in general population where they're a threat to themselves and a threat to others.
Do you have any parting words for your community?
I want to tell the community in Martin County I have loved every minute of serving them. They've been the best people in the world. I could not have done what I've done. We could not have pushed back on traveling criminals. We could not have gotten a fully funded budget. We could not have been the professional agency we are if we hadn't partnered with the men and women and the boys and girls and the people of this county. They have trusted me for 12 years. By God's grace, I have not betrayed that trust, and I believe they're going to be in the best hands ever. John Budensiek will take good care of this sheriff's office and of the people of Martin County.